Welcome to the Waiting Warriors podcast. As loved ones of first responders and military personnel, we often face life situations and challenges that many others don't experience. And while each of us and our experiences are unique, together we can learn from one another and become stronger in this journey of life. Now let's step out of mediocrity. It's time to thrive. Hi, Waiting Warriors. This is Michelle, your host, and this week's episode is all about the theme of the month. It has been a really good month for the Waiting Warriors community. Last month's episodes were all so good. We had a lot of fun with some giveaways and fun tips on Instagram and Facebook, and I even got 2 blog posts up for you. So if you missed any of the fun this month, you can go to thewaitingwarriors.com, catch up on all the goodness. It is all up there. So for February though, wanted to do a theme around something that I hear comments and people struggling with the most, and that is food. So the theme for the month is finding ease in the kitchen. Now, I am not here to throw any sort of shame at people who eat peanut butter and jelly for dinner, maybe even multiple times a week, because that's either all you have time and energy for, or like there are just times and seasons in life, and I personally believe that God made PB&J so mama could have a break while daddy's away, right? But in my personal experience, I start to not feel good when that's all I eat. So this is why it's the theme. Again, guys, this is not like the end all be all. This is just something for you to try to help you get to a point where you are thriving as a waiting warrior. So I start to not feel good though in 2 ways. One, I feel lame. And that's really the best word I can think of for it. I looked in the thesaurus. I couldn't find anything better. I just like good food. And I'm not a person who is satisfied with kid food. I'm not a total food snob or like a super foodie, but I like to eat like an adult, right? So when in the past, I've gotten stuck in the phase of I feel so exhausted. I can't handle going to the grocery store right now or just this week, or we are jam-packed. There isn't time. When I get stuck in that, I personally don't feel satisfied. And I found myself subconsciously throwing that dissatisfaction that is really towards food, I was throwing it at the deployment. Again, there is a time and a place for meals like that. But I've learned that I don't have to be stuck in it until my husband gets home, which is what I was telling myself. This is just how it's going to be until he gets home. Or this, this is, Second way I don't feel good is physically. Our bodies need nutrients, guys. And unfortunately, PB&J, corn dogs, and mac and cheese don't have too many nutrients. So if that's all you eat, you won't feel great. Again, in my experience, because yes, I have had a week where all I ate was cereal, sandwiches, corn dogs, mac and cheese, and like some freezer pre-made meals from the grocery store, you don't feel super great. I got super sluggish and was exhausted all the time. Like all of the exhaustion from the deployment got amplified because I wasn't physically feeling great, and once again, fully blamed the situation I was in, thinking it wouldn't get any better until Austin came home. But that's not how it has to be. We, luckily, can choose something better for ourselves. So here's what I want to suggest in the episode. I want to, at the very least, get you to believe that you can find ease in the kitchen. Even when things are completely topsy-turvy, you can eat yummy, healthy, well-balanced food and not drown in all the work and it take too much out of you. Because like January's theme, this is something that just takes a little bit of time and work. It does take some time and work, but you are freaking worth that time and work. So, first tip, 1, go buy a little recipe book or binder from Target, just like a blank one, or start a note on your phone, and every time you try a meal that is super simple, write it down. Put it all in one spot, and do this even when you're in the more mellow stages, like right now, if that's where you are right now. So you put all these recipes in one spot, because you don't find those kind of recipes very often, right? But then you go over to somebody's house, or you find something on Pinterest, you try a meal, and you're like, wow, this took me 10 minutes. This is great. And I know, if you're like me at least, you think, this is so perfect for while we're in a deployment. But then when I go and I'm preparing for a TDY or that deployment that we know is going to come, I forget it. So because we know that those TDYs and deployments will come, we know fire season will come, where shifts will change, and our loved ones will be gone. So start it now. Start the simple prep right now. Because when you're headed for that crazy time, you'll have all these recipes that you like and are easy, and they're just waiting for you to be used in the lineup. Okay? Second tip is freezer meals. And I'll talk more throughout the month on social media, especially stories on how I do this for our family. If you don't know how to do it, or you're looking for some more recipes or different ways. But if you've never done freezer meals before, a really easy way to start is just by simply taking 1 serving from each meal you make this week, pop it in a Tupperware or a bag, whatever works, and freeze it. Then in a few days, heat it up for lunch and see how it tastes. You'll learn so much just by doing this simple thing. You'll learn a lot about what meals work that way, and then you'll write them all down because we're condensing it, right? And it's not hard to make double of a recipe and then freeze half of it, so you don't have to cook at least one time the next week or next month. If you want to learn more about super easy freezer meal options, I personally love everything put out by The Family Freezer. You can follow her on social media or check her out on her website. I'm pretty sure it's just thefamilyfreezer.com. But she has a ton of free recipes she publishes on social media, but then she also has a really inexpensive cookbooks that you can buy. I personally love how simple she's made it. Like, there are a lot of recipes where you gotta spend all day browning meat or chopping or just cooking or whatever, but literally anyone can do her recipes. She has a ton that are no cook before. You just throw it all in a bag. You don't have to spend all day in the kitchen cooking and putting everything together. She is a great resource. Third tip is my freaking favorite invention ever. Well, maybe just like my favorite app ever, is called Favor Eats, and is the biggest game changer to my mom life that has ever come around. Favor Eats is it's like a Pinterest type app in that you can save recipes to your profile, and you can actually connect it with your Pinterest. So you can save on Pinterest and then it will bring it over to this app and it will bring it all over. But it's not only a place for your recipes, but in this like super user-friendly way, very, very simple. You just drag, or you can assign a recipe to a day, and it will automatically generate your shopping list for you. And it's organized by sections. Like, I get giddy talking about this. It's so helpful. So if you have your own recipes though, that you love to make, you can easily input those manually, save it on your profile again, just assign it to a day. It's so simple. I used to spend like at least an hour thinking of meals, then writing down all the ingredients, checking that list in my pantry. If I was super diligent, I'd write the list again, like in the organized way of where everything was in the store. And then I'd be at the grocery store holding my list, trying to cross it off while having my kids in the cart, so it's like you got the elbow pushing, one arm keeping it track, keeping the kids in the cart and checking things off. And it's just not fun. Like, it was legitimately turning into my least favorite time of the week, and I was stressed out a lot about it. But now that's totally gone. Now I just drag some recipes, add the random things, the milk, the bread, other little things that I need to add to my list very easily in the app. It just generates the whole shopping list for me. And then just by tapping it, it clicks off the ones that you're using. And so I normally drag everything to my list, add what I need, look through my pantry real fast. So I check off the ones I already have at home. And then in 15 minutes, I'm completely ready and go on my way to the store. So unfortunately, the one bad thing is this app was developed by a small business owners, two really amazing women. So they have it only for iPhones right now, but really, I would switch over to iPhone if I was you, just so I could get this app. It is 1000% worth it. And just to be very clear, I know I have some sponsored content sometimes here and on social media, but these two tips are being shared simply because I love these two companies so much. And they are huge helps, and I think you guys could use these helps. Obviously, I'd love if either one would sponsor the podcast or anything on The Waiting Warrior, but I'm not going to wait for that to happen to share their pure, helpful goodness. Fourth and final tip is stop believing that delicious meals have to be complicated. I'll admit, this has been the hardest one for me to get over in our 6 years of marriage. I still wrestle with it all the time, but when I let go the huge expectation that a good meal has to be complex, some really good things happen. And it's totally okay for the veggie to be little carrots and ranch or cucumbers and seasoning and salt. Like, does anybody else love that? If you haven't tried that, you totally should. It's just a little bit of seasoning and salt. Sometimes my kids just want regular salt. And my three littles will eat a whole cucumber all by themselves. It is awesome. Or just like remembering that each food group doesn't have to perfectly coordinate with the others. For example, just the other night, we had these really, really yummy meatballs I got from Costco. I think they're called Adele's or something like that. All their products are actually chicken-based, but they're super flavorful. And because they're chicken-based, it's a little bit better for you than beef. I think there's less fat or something. But these meatballs were pineapple and teriyaki. And I just popped those into a little pan, heating up. They were in the freezer, so I just heat them up on low. And then we had a quote-unquote salad with some ranch. I didn't have any other veggies in the house to make things more exciting. But hey, they ate some spring mix and romaine with a little bit of ranch. So here's some fist pumps for nutrients. And then I took just some plain wheat bread, like the very boring, cheap wheat bread, a little bit of butter, and this really good seasoning. Pop that in the oven for some garlic bread. Boom. I had a protein, veggie, carb. Was it the most elaborate meal I've ever made? No, but it was flavorful. It filled their tummies with things that gave them, us all, the little bits of nutrients that they needed, and everybody was happy. You just have to let that go. There are days where you can make this super great meal, and I don't know if that makes you feel like Supermom, that's great, but I'm just learning to still feel like Supermom when I make a meal like that, because for some reason we've put this expectation out there. I think it's because Pinterest, we see all these great meals that are so put together. But again, just like I've said before, there's a time and a place, and maybe the time and the place for that kind of meal is Thanksgiving. And that just might be it. And other days when the hubs is gone and you are doing things on your own for a while, or it's just a busy day, that you just need to get some food in your belly. So then you can be happy, because nobody wants to be hangry, because that just makes everything worse. That's all I have for you today. Hopefully something I said sparked some ideas on how you can make this work for you in your kitchen. And again, just like last month, I'll be sharing some tips and tricks I've learned over the years to make my life so much easier in the kitchen. I'll be doing all of that over on social media. I have a few giveaways. One started actually today, this week, for a really amazing cookbook that will help you So make sure you are following me over there. I am the Waiting Warrior on everything. And guys, if you could just take a second to leave a review on iTunes, whatever you're watching, leave a rating and a review. That would be so helpful. We're going to start doing some little, sending out some little goodies for people who are leaving reviews. So make sure you leave them there. Or if on Instagram or Facebook, you screenshot listening to an episode, post it on there. Make sure you tag me so I can see it. And we'll be doing some giveaways with that as well. So guys, have a great week. Eat some good food, whatever good food means for you, but take care of your body and find ease in your kitchen. Bye, guys. Today's sponsor of the podcast is Clean Simple Eats. If you're like me, you want to eat healthy and feed your family all the good stuff, but the idea of eating clean sparks thoughts of tasteless vegetables and bland chicken. Clean Simple Eats will change all of that for you, and I can confidently say that because they have for our family. I've tried many healthy cookbooks and recipes, and few come close to comparing to this. My favorite thing that sets Clean Simple Eats apart is her cookbooks because they are seasonally based. So every flavor-packed recipe is stuff you'll find at the store and in season, saving on your budget. Check out cleansimpleeats.com for her cookbook and protein supplements, or follow her on Instagram at cleansimpleeats to learn more.